All right, week 14, close calls, playoff edition. So we're doing a hybrid today. So we're doing close calls in combination with Jordan's playoff, show. And I'm bringing in the main man, two-time champ, trying to go for 3 times. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. Who knows? I don't know. Everything's still in contention. Jordan.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm on the outside looking in. I know you said, maybe depending on how it breaks out, but I ain't getting teased like that. You can fuck off with that garbage right now. I already know what time.
I was trying to get your hopes up, man.
I know what time it is, bro. It's especially with how this week went. If I was in the 200s, I might have had a shot because Carlos's team kind of shit the bed a little bit. But nah, ain't gonna happen, bro.
Damn. All right. Well, let's get right into it. We're not messing around today. So we're gonna go right into the matchups. Pierce, Moore, Herbert, Brown Eyes, 5-8, which is your team. You're currently sitting at 159 versus Manny, who's at 142. He's projected 164. He has, I believe, Nick Folk and James Conner still left. And we're gonna name this. We're gonna go over 3 games, and then we'll talk about football. For each game, we'll give it a bold name. So what would you give this game?
Kind of the fuck it bowl,
Oh, the fuck it bowl, huh?
Just you got to put the in there too, kind of like Bugs Bunny. What's up, Doc? It's not the same without the answer. Fuck it. Because quite honestly, whether I win or whether Manny wins, we're both sitting in the same boat. The worst that Manny can do is 7th seed, and some things have to break wrong for him, which we'll go over in a bit with the next ones. But at best, he's still sitting at 6th seed, so it's either 6th or 7th. I mean, it really doesn't matter for him. For me, I'm in the loser bracket. So, it is a little bit cool if I could pull off the win versus Manny, only because I got a bad history versus him, but it doesn't really mean anything. So, it kind of rings hollow. But shit, Folk has had games where he's gotten 17 points by himself. So I think this is kind of a wrap, and it's not even to try and jinx him or anything, but sometimes those Patriots kickers can get some field goals going, especially in games like this where neither defense or offense is really that great or that bad. I could definitely see like a 19-16 type of ball game if some things don't break the right way.
I can see it. So he gets Jamar Chase back. He had 10 catches, 119 yards, a touchdown for a total of 28 points. You had your Eagles combination combined for exactly 69 points, Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. And so good news, right? You avoided the Tutu Bowl. Hey.
I'll take a win where I can get it, right? In a failed season, I mean, you take whatever consolation prize you can get. But yeah, you better believe I'm already looking forward to next year.
Gotcha. And then you kind of brushed up on Manny's playoff hopes here. So if he loses this game, is he in?
Yep, he's in. If he loses, and he would end up being 7-7. The only way that he would lose a tiebreaker to anybody would be to Jeff, who, if Jeff ends up getting in, he would most likely be in as a 5, or he would get in as a 6 seed and push Manny to 7th seed. So that would be an odd scenario because it's actually looking more like Jeff will end up winning his division and getting a higher seed. That's only if Joel ends up winning the division. A lot of things in play.
I have to say, there's a lot of moving pieces. All right. Well, the second question is, because we're talking about Eagles players, Eagles currently the number 1 team in you could say in the NFL. They got the best record for sure. Obstacles. I know they play the Cowboys coming up, but who do you see them as a possible challenger or a potential, underdog for them, either in, not only regular season, but for the playoffs? So we got Cowboys, Vikings, 49ers as, the top teams that we all know about. But do you see anybody else that can then challenge them, maybe knock them off in the playoffs?
Honestly, I mean, any of the above. I mean, it's a one game. We're not talking about a series like basketball, baseball, hockey. It's not. You don't get multiple chances. I mean, if they have an off game and the other team has an on game, we've already seen it. They have that one loss. Right. All you got to do is go 0-1 in any given week. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but at the same time, history has told us that the top seeds don't make it from each division every year. So, who's going to upend them? I think the best chance is San Fran or Dallas. I think they definitely have the combination of defense and offense that, they could either keep up or hold Philly back in certain ways. But Philly is deep. Philly is really, really deep, and they're deep at all the right positions. They're good at the offensive line. They're great at defensive line, and they can rotate in. About to get Jordan Davis back.
Right.
So, you put that all together, and do I think they're probably going to come out of the NFC? Yeah, because it's hard to believe in Dallas. It's hard to believe in San Fran. Fuck Tampa. It's not happening. Let's just get real. Seriously, it's not. I mean, but who else is there? The other Seattle. No, they're not going to go deep. Washington, New York, not going to go deep. So it comes down to, can they win 2 games in a row? And I think they can. So,
how about Detroit? Would you see maybe Detroit pulling an upset?
Yeah. I could. I mean, depending on who their first round matchup is, because they'd have to sneak in as a 7?
Yeah.
So if they sneak in as a 7, they would be playing the 2 seed, which is Minnesota, and they know Minnesota. They just fucking beat them. So,
right.
Absolutely. I mean, that would be, if they would beat them, then they would go and play Detroit and Philly, and they've already, if I'm not mistaken, they had a pretty barn-burning game earlier this year, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah, either way. I mean, Detroit is a dark horse. You do not want to play them in the playoffs. Their offense can go off. At the same time, if you're a Detroit fan, you don't really want, your playoff hopes resting on Jared Goff, but you got nothing to lose. I mean, shit, at least he's been there,
No, and last thing before we move on, Jalen Hurts for MVP. Do you see any challengers?
No. I mean, I think that it is weighted heavily towards quarterback, of course, and I think that Philly would be pretty damn competitive even without Jalen because they have such a good team. Mm-hmm. But it would need to be someone similar to his type of build. So, I mean, I think he's definitely the front runner there, but I mean, you also got to look at some of the non-quarterbacks that really, it's so skewed towards quarterbacks that, of course, it's going to be him, right? Because nobody else has really stepped up. Who? Kirk Cousins? Give me a fucking break. It's not going to happen. So, what a Justin Jefferson? Well, he's been, on again, off again. He's the reason why they've literally won games. He should be considered. And is he more important towards his team than Jalen Hurts? That's debatable, but what's the more important position? So,
well, I could see maybe Mahomes maybe being, right up there with him.
He definitely should be up there, and I would argue would probably be more of a correct choice. Mm-hmm. But when you look at the whole body of work and the record and how much farther apart they are compared to the rest of the conference, I don't think. I think they're going to look for some new blood before they start giving it back to Mahomes, because he could win it every year, man. He really could.
Yeah, he was.
You see that crazy little underhanded flip, man?
To McKinnon? You saw that?
That looked like some Madden shit, like some last second, oh shit, I threw to avoid the sack and it just, went through my hip or some bullshit.
I know. It brought me some flashbacks of Brett Favre when he used to do that,
Yeah, except he doesn't throw as many picks. Dude, Mahomes, seriously, I don't wish the time away, but I really do wonder what we're gonna look back on and see as his whole career, his whole body of work. Because if anybody has a chance to make a run at Brady as being the GOAT, it's Mahomes. He has so many tools that nobody else has, and he's already operating up here better than Brady even does.
So this is Darius Sanders, McCaffrey, 7-6, which is Jeff's team. He's sitting at 106 points. He's got no more players. Versus Lewis, 2-11. He's sitting at 99 points. He's projected 112. We're calling this the Beef and Cheddar Bowl.
I like that. It's making a comeback, huh?
Yes. So,
well, it ain't easy being cheesy, that's for sure.
So, I mean, Lewis might get his third win. I mean, we'll see. He's got Marquise Brown left in this for him. He got 48 points from Chargers. I mean, this man has been trusting Justin Herbert and company since day one, has not traded them away. And here he is, week 14. And they might get the third win for him this year. I mean,
yeah, I mean, riding his horses till they fall off, right? And then, the thing that's funny to me is Lewis's team, or at least the way they perform, kind of reminds me of the Bucs. It's like they have that 17-point threshold where it's like if they can hold you there, they got a chance. But if Lewis can hold the other team there, aka the other team doesn't score more than 100 points, give or take, he's got a chance. But it's and even now, trust me, do not believe in Cardinals wide receivers. I did that right after trading for Rondale Moore, and it fucked me up the ass.
Yes, I know, right? The dude's been out since you got him.
Yeah, dude. As soon as I got, and the thing is, he was healthy. He was healthy, and in the first play, he went down with a loss and then strained his groin. Hasn't been in since. Like, you want to talk about the worst buyer's remorse ever? But I mean, shit happens. I mean, if I wouldn't have traded for him, then Devontae Adams would have gotten injured. So I took one for the team. Fuck it. But there's a lot that's at stake here, though, because a lot of the mix of what happens between Jeff and Lewis, and also Joel and Hector, is going to depend on who gets in. And especially for Jeff, because he leads the division right now. I mean, if he wins, he gets not only the division, but he's guaranteed the 3rd seed.
Oh, wow.
Which is big, because then he gets to avoid you, which is AKA the Dallas Cowboys of this year. Is pretty much going to come in with the big dick swinging out as the top wild card team, not giving a shit about the others. You're probably going to end up playing Alex. But if Jeff loses, he has a very good chance of playing you.
Okay.
And if that ends up happening, that could affect him, obviously, because he doesn't get the choice matchup so much. But then also, if he loses, it also gets some other things going here in regards to Joel sneaking in and possibly taking the division from him.
Oh, interesting. So there's a lot of implications in this game.
Yep. It's like playing lights out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, only the OGs remember that game.
Lights out.
Now it's LED lights out.
Talking about the Chargers, right? So we're gonna pivot back and forth. So this goes down to last night's game. We had Justin Herbert and Tua, and there's a lot of comparisons out there. So Herbert was 367 yards, 39 out of 51. 76% completion percentage and 1 touchdown. He got Lewis 20 points here, but these guys have been compared. I don't know. You can say Twitter, you can say whatever. But here's the comparisons, because they were drafted right next to each other, right? So the big deal is that the Dolphins went and drafted Tua. They were tanking for Tua, and everybody admits it. At first it was a joke, but there's a lot of people said this is a real thing. And a lot of people would like to say, no, tanking doesn't exist. But yeah, so they tanked for Tua. And then, these guys, the Chargers came right after them and drafted Herbert. Here's the comparison so far. So you got Herbert, 12,600. This is not including yesterday's game yards. So 12,000 passing yards. Tua's got 7,000. He's been injured, whatever. 89 passing touchdowns for 48. I mean, you just go down the line of statistics, and whatever. But give me your take. What do you think about the comparisons? Who might have a better long-term career, or did the Dolphins make the right choice, the wrong choice? What's the deal here?
Well, that's the trick, right? Is trying to figure out who won, who lost. I mean, and that's the thing. Is organizations tank, but coaches and players don't.
Right.
They're fighting for their jobs. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, let's just purposefully lose. So it's a difficult balance like that. And then when it works out and they still end up taking the person, they took Tua, which I think, hindsight, you think that they should have taken, Justin Herbert, which I would agree he has better, tangible tools. He has the bigger rocket arm. He stepped right in, could, in operating with a guy like Daniel. I mean, Yeah, it definitely seems like that'd be a match made in heaven, but I think it also matters about who you surround him with. And I definitely think that Tua has a better situation, more talent around him. A team that has a proven track record of doing whatever it has to win. I mean, let's face it, the Chargers, they've always kind of been kind of a sad sack franchise. They got the cool unis, and that's really about it. You know what I mean? Like, they've had some good players, but they've kind of been known as not being one that players like to stick around and be a part of any sort of legacy. You know, I mean, Dan Fouts, and they kind of do some things every now and then, but LT got tired of them. Eli Manning famously never wanted to go to him. So you start looking at things like that, and I think that Tua is going to end up having the better career.
Okay.
But I think that Herbert is, the physically more gifted quarterback that if you were to plug him in would probably take that offense to another level. But I still think they're in a good place.
All right. Me personally, I'm a Herbert fan, so I love everything about him. To me, he looks like an NFL quarterback. Tua reminds me a lot of Russell Wilson. I'm not gonna say he's that, because Russell's had a pretty good career up to this point. He's just
to me, Tua kind of reminds me of I'd almost want to say almost like a Drew Brees, and I don't want to throw that around loosely, because Drew Brees, as much as we joke, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he has the accuracy, not known for his arm. And then you look at Herbert, and he kind of reminds me of Elway. I mean, he has every single gift that you could think of in regards to how he leads the team, and I mean, just the arm, the physical traits. He can get out of the pocket and move if he needs to. He might not be a Hall of Famer, but god damn it, he definitely can sling it. I love his game for sure. So it's going to come down to, the career is going to be, well, how did the teams perform, And then I look at the franchises, and the Chargers are not really known for a good franchise. They've never been able to sell out a stadium. So I trust me, I like Herbert a lot. I like the Chargers uniforms as a team. I've always kind of liked them as a West Coast team, but I just wonder if they're going to do everything they can to surround them to win anything,
This topic, I want to bring back some good memories here. So I want to see if you remember this, all right? And then just tell me your thoughts.
Going deep has McCaffrey. Purdy, Lofton going deep has McCaffrey. He's touchdown, San Francisco. There's a penalty again.
And there's more. Here we go.
See McCaffrey, he's out here one-on-one. George Kittle's in the backfield.
One-on-one. I believe that's Ryan.
Declare how you want to identify.
Yeah.
Pressure up the middle, all the big guys. And McCaffrey, he's a running back by title, but he's
one-on-one with your safety back there.
Slot. He's a runner.
Yep.
Here comes the next coming of Joe Montana, Purdy,
knows that.
Apparently.
Here's my thoughts. This is what happens when you have a defense that is predicated on covering their woeful inadequacies in the secondary with a above average pass rush and hoping that that's enough. I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. I was going to put in the team chat, but I got busy as hell on Sunday. But if history serves me correctly, the Bucs going on a West Coast road game never ends up well. We've lost 45-0 to the Raiders back in 2000. I mean, and I didn't think that was going to be cured by Brady going to his hometown or anything. So I'm honestly not too surprised. I was hoping it'd be better than 35-7. I was hoping for a much closer game, but honestly, this team is just not good. They're not good in a lot of ways, and that's part of the problem when you're getting to the playoffs, is that you have teams that are so good, they're looking for one weak link. They're looking to affect Josh Allen, or they're looking to affect Jalen Hurts, or they're looking to try to confuse Kirk Cousins. With the Bucs, you ain't got to do that. You don't even need that great of a defensive line, but yet a lot of the teams, I'm telling you, the one thing I'm scared of the most, that I hate, is I think we're going to lose to the Cowboys in the first round of the playoffs at home.
Oh yeah, that is coming out. It's starting to align.
I mean, dude, right after we beat them in the first week, and then after the second and third week, when I realized, scoring in the teens is going to be a regular thing this year.
Yeah.
I started worrying about having to play the Cowboys in the play, because not only do they have every bit of motivation, they have every single answer to our Achilles heels. Like, they're great at rushing the passer. What are we fucking horrible at right now? Blocking. Can't be run on. What are we I mean, they have every single positive to our negative. So yeah, it's gonna go bad.
Yeah, my cousins are gonna call me from Texas and I can talk shit about.
Dude, you can't shut Dallas Cowboys fans up, man. And then to lose to them when they are just known for tanking. Like, seriously, if we do somehow win that game against them, like, fuck everything else. I know we're not going to win the Super Bowl, but hell yeah, thank God that we just torched the Cowboys yet again, you know. But I just don't see it, man.
Oh man. All right. Well, we got some. Well, we'll see. Wishful thinking, Jordan. Maybe I don't have to hear my cousins bragging about the Cowboys for a couple months.
They'll be on the next year, the next hour.
I know, right? Oh my goodness, my phone won't stop blowing up. All right, moving on. Last but not least, the Happy Ending Bowl. So this is went to London with a hall pass, 6-7. This is my little bro Joel at 1-6. He's projected 120, and then we have Hector at 5-8. Chef Ramsey and the Cooks, and Joel has who else? Nuke DeAndre Hopkins going tonight. And that's it. That's the guy that's got to get it done from tonight.
Yep. And you want to know who is rooting against DeAndre Hopkins way more than you actually realize is not even Hector. Hector really can't get into the playoffs no matter what. Okay. But Carlos, the only way that he can get into the playoffs, the only possible way is if Hector wins. And that would force a 4-way tie at 6-8, or possibly a 3-way tie, which then he wins on points. And then that leaves Joel on the outside and Carlos in. So if Joel loses, he's out. And if Joel wins, he's in. It's that simple. That's how it goes down.
Win and you're in. So where would he land potentially?
That's where it can get interesting. It also depends on if Jeff wins or loses. If Jeff loses, he could get up to, I believe, the 4th seed, which he then would play you. And I think he might actually be able to get up to 3rd seed. I'd have to check. It depends on his head-to-head with Alex. I believe he lost. He lost. Yeah, Alex has tiebreaker over him. So that's right. The only way that Alex can get 3rd seed is if Joel wins the division, which means he wins and Jeff loses to Lewis. And then that means Joel wins the division and he gets 4th seed. Jeff then gets, I believe, 6th or 7th seed because you're locked into 5th.
Right. Ooh. All right. Winning, you're in. That's interesting. I like it. Well, but before we close, so just looking at his team, he went with he went with Amari Cooper, who ended up with 6 points. Donovan People-Jones with 20.5. He went off. And, you know, Deshaun Watson is, you can say, the story out there in Cleveland. They gave him a 5-year, guaranteed $230 million contract. The dude's playing like garbage. 59% completion percentage, the lowest in his career. You could say he's a little bit rusty. 48.4 QBR. That's not his norm. He's usually pretty more accurate than that. He's about 67% for his career. He's never topped more than 33 touchdowns was his peak. He's averaged about 26 touchdowns a year. So again, we're not talking the 40, 45 touchdowns like Aaron Rodgers, and yet this man is probably the highest paid QB out there right now.
Most guaranteed money for sure. Hell yeah.
So,
yeah, and aside the things outside of football, I mean, just even if you don't want to set that aside, just set aside for a minute. I mean, any of that shit, regardless, obviously something was going on that wasn't right. So, but let's just set that aside. Even beside all that, he was, like you're pointing out, is he that good? He had the potential to be in a better situation for sure, but giving him that money is like giving him money that he's already done it, right? He's already proven it, and you're trying to get a discount. and he has to outperform. Like if he doesn't win a Super Bowl with Cleveland, which I'm sorry, I don't think they will.
I don't see it.
Because I mean, keep in mind they got to get out of that division, and that's a tough division. Always, they got to get out of that conference. He obviously just chased money. He was going to go with Atlanta. You know, they had that jersey that he had that was already made, sitting behind him. And that would have been a much easier path, to be honest. But he chased money because they gave him fully guaranteed. Like, you know. But you reap what you sow. You know, Cleveland sold their soul, trying to get see if they can get a Super Bowl out of it. I don't think it was the right move, to be honest with you. They kind of went from, oh man, we feel bad for you because you got your team picked up and moved, and the Ravens have since won Super Bowls, to now it's like, oh, that's what you're willing to win a Super Bowl? We ain't rooting for you no more. We're rooting against you. All 31 other teams.
Yeah, that's an ugly situation. I mean, we'll see. Maybe he'll turn it around. Maybe he'll get better. The coach out there is not too bad, but I don't know, man.
He will be better. He will.
I mean, Brissett was.
He just hasn't played in a while.
Right.
Yeah.
He's rusty, but Brissett was playing a lot better than what he's doing now. I mean,
you want to know what I'm kind of silently hoping.
Just here it comes. Here it comes.
Why not Jacoby just come on down here if Brady wants to jet?
Is this breaking news?
I'm just saying. That's what I would. I mean, I believe he would want to play somewhere else. He's proven himself. I don't know if Brady wants to come back to this team. I think that if he's going to keep playing, I think it would be between us and San Fran. I think he's smart enough to know that just going anywhere else doesn't equal a championship right away. He's got to. But I think that San Fran could be built for him if it's at his hometown team.
Yeah.
So if he jets or if he retires. Yeah, I mean, Jacoby, I would be much more interested in than pretty much anybody else available.
Jacoby, welcome to Tampa Bay. Let me be the first one to welcome you.
Hey, I called Brady. I got witnesses. I called Brady back in 2019 before 2020 even hit. I was saying, Brady, afterwards, come on down. We're set up for you, and it worked out. So
you did.
I'm just saying, I'm not calling a Super Bowl with Jacoby. We got a lot of problems. We got to rebuild the left side of our line. We got to build up our secondary better. We need to fire the entire fucking coaching staff.
Yeah.
Front office might need a cleaning as well. I mean, we need to reassess, but that's not going to happen. So at the very least, we need better talent because we already got them locked in the contracts.
Well, we got Jacoby. I think we got a shot. I mean, these teams are getting in with pretty much barely, losing records into the wild card. I mean, the whole NFC South has a losing record. So.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'd rather just us miss the playoffs and lose to the Cowboys in the playoffs. I seriously would. At least we get a better pick out of it and maybe get a future QB. You never know.
Yeah, agreed. All right, your final thoughts.
Final thoughts, man, is just like fantasy. It kind of mirrors real life and vice versa. Keep an eye on the different teams and how they're made. Like, obviously, you have two totally different setups with like the Bucs versus Eagles. The Bucs have holes everywhere. The Eagles, really, they're the only person you can try to go after is Jalen Hurts, and he's still been answering the call. You know what I mean? And then there's everywhere in between. You got the Bills with different strengths, the Cowboys, the 49ers, obviously. So what I'd recommend to everybody, and this will help you, especially if you all want to get into Dynasty, which, will hopefully be starting up soon. Take your eye off the ball. It gets and this is why I do enjoy watching defensive battles, Saheed, motherfucker. Just because it's really interesting, and I know Alex can attest to this, you probably can too, is, you can't just follow the football. You got to follow the line battles. Who's winning off the line at wide receiver and defensive back? What keys are the linebackers following? Are they following the guards? Are they following the center and tackle? Are they following the quarterback's eyes too much? Are they playing zone, a mix of zone and man? You can't see that shit if you just follow the football. All you see is incomplete pass. You don't know why. So it'll give you an idea why players are targeted, which direction the game is going. It's all a story to look into. So that's what I would say.
Interesting. Well, thanks for coming on, brother. I appreciate everything that you do, the breakdowns, the playoff scenarios, and pretty much for being a rock in this league, and we are excited to see where you're going to take this Dynasty project that we're going to jump in with you and kind of just figure out together, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And appreciate the same likewise, and everybody else in the league. It takes everybody together to make it an awesome league. So that's why I think we got the right people to go forward and give Dynasty a try and see what happens.
Interesting. All right, brother. Well, Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Same to you and yours, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Peace, punch, cap, and crunch, y'all.
There it is.